The aroma of roasted turkey and quiet dismay greeted me as I dropped my overnight bag in the entryway I'd known all my life. The same family photos covered the walls, unchanged after all these years, except there were no recent pictures of me. None from the last 5 years. No surprise, really, since my family considered those years lost. I'm Madison Foster, though my family just called me the Dropout after I left Stanford my junior year. Now 28, I was the outcast who'd abandoned a promising pre-med future to chase what my dad dismissively called computer stuff. Madison. My mother's voice floated in from the kitchen, sweet but tight. You're early, honey. We expected you at dinner. I glanced at my watch, 2:47 p.m. Thought I'd help with the cooking, Mom. She came out, drying her hands on her apron, her eyes sweeping over me, jeans, sweater, sneakers. I could almost hear her tally my shortcomings. That's thoughtful, she said, but her tone held doubt. Your brother and Jessica are already here. And Trevor flew in this morning from New York. Of course Trevor was here. The family. Star, perfect in every way. Harvard Law, top law firm, married well, everything I was supposed to achieve. The living room buzzed with the usual energy of family concern masking judgment. David lounged in Dad's old chair, Jessica posed on the arm, both seeming like a magazine ad for young success. Trevor gestured in front of the fire, telling some story about court victories. Madison. David boomed, faking excitement. Look. Who finally came out of hiding? Still living in Mom's basement? The room laughed politely. Jessica stifled a giggle, Trevor grinned wide. I have my own place, I replied, settling into the sofa. Small apartment downtown. How small? Jessica asked, feigning concern. With rent these days. It's fine, I said, taking the coffee Mom handed me. It suits me. Trevor loosened his tie, joining in. Madison, I have to ask, what exactly do you do these days? Here came the annual inquisition. I'm in software development. I said. David leaned forward. Like fixing computers? No, building applications and systems. Is there money in that? Real money? I thought briefly about the 7-figure contracts I'd signed just last month, the $2.8 billion valuation, the offers from tech giants. I just smiled. I get by. Dad appeared from his study, glasses still on, holding financial papers. At 64, Richard Foster commanded every room. He'd built Foster and Associates into a regional powerhouse and wanted his kids on classic paths to success. Madison, he nodded. Good to see you. You too, Dad. He took his seat, the unspoken cue for serious discussion. Now everyone's here, he began, let's talk about family business. My stomach twisted. These never ended well for me. The firm's doing great. David's expanded our client base. Next year, he'll be managing partner. Applause. David glowed, Jessica squeezed his arm, Trevor toasted. Wonderful news, Mom said, glancing at me. Both our children doing so well. The silence that followed was thick. Well, Trevor said, trying to lighten things, 1 out of 2 isn't bad. More polite laughter. I kept smiling, used to being the joke. Madison, Dad's voice took on that old lecture tone. It's not too late. Dr. Patterson's son is doing great in medical device sales. I could make a call, get you an interview. Thanks, Dad, but I'm happy where I am. David snorted. Happy? That's what people say when they've given up. David, Mom warned. No, Mom. David stood up, warming to his topic. Madison had everything. Stanford pre-med, full support. She threw it away for, what? To play with computers in a dark apartment. It's not a basement, I said quietly. Jessica jumped in. What kind of future is there in, whatever you do? Trevor nodded. Tech bubbles always burst. Remember the dot-com crash? Madison, you need something stable. Like David. I looked around at their concerned faces, so sure they knew best. 5 years of this, 5 years of being the family disappointment while I built something they couldn't imagine. You know, I said, picking up my phone, I've been meaning to show you all something. Please don't say you're on Instagram, Jessica said. Social media isn't a job, Madison. I ignored her, scrolling for the right message. My publicist sent this earlier. Haven't checked yet. Publicist? Dad sounded baffled. Why do you need a publicist? The doorbell rang. That's the mail, Mom said, hurrying off. Perfect timing. I'd been tracking the delivery. She returned with mail, then paused, puzzled. Forbes magazine? She frowned. We don't subscribe to Forbes. My heart pounded. That's probably for me. For you? David scoffed. Why would Forbes? He stopped as Mom lifted the cover, my face, professional, confident. With the headline, the 28-year-old dropout who built $1 billion empire. Silence. Trevor's cup hit the floor, shattering. Jessica's jaw dropped. David's face drained of color. Madison, Mom whispered. Is this you? I stood, took the magazine from her hands. Yeah, Mom. That's me. The cover showed me in Nexus Dynamics glass conference room, my company, built from that basement apartment. The tagline, how Madison Foster revolutionized cloud computing while her family thought she was failing. This can't be, David stammered. Some mistake. I flipped to the article. Want me to read it? No one spoke. Madison Foster left Stanford junior year, defying her family, to pursue an impossible dream, revolutionizing data storage in the cloud. 5 years later, her company, Nexus Dynamics, is worth $2.8 billion, with 40% of Fortune 500 as clients. Trevor collapsed into a chair. Nexus Dynamics? You handle data security for half Manhattan's law firms. I kept reading. Foster's journey began in a 400-square-foot apartment. She worked 18-hour days, developing the world's most secure cloud system. Dad took off his glasses, cleaning them. Madison, I don't understand. Why didn't you tell us? I closed the magazine, meeting his gaze. Would you have believed me? The question hung in the air. Last Christmas, I continued, I tried to explain. You told me to stop dreaming. 2 Thanksgivings ago, when I landed my first big client, you said I was delusional. Jessica found her voice. But you dress so simply. You drive an old Honda. I live simply because that's all I need, I said. Success isn't about flash. It's about building something that matters. David scrolled his phone frantically. Your company just bought 2 competitors for $300 million each. Last month. We're expanding into Europe. Trevor looked up, stunned. You're worth more than all of us. Yes, I replied softly. Mom slumped, staring at the cover. Why didn't you tell us? I thought of all the ignored dinners, the times they assumed I was failing. Sharing requires trust. And trust needs people to listen. Dad read the article, emotions flickering across his face. You employ over 800 people. You handle government contracts. The Pentagon's our biggest client, I said. Classified data for 3 military branches. Silence. Trevor spoke slowly. I recommended Nexus Dynamics to my firm. You've handled our most sensitive files. I nodded. I saw your name on the client list. And you said nothing? Would it have mattered? No reply. Jessica scrolled her phone. You're in TechCrunch, Wall Street Journal, Harvard Business Review. You're famous. I'm successful, I corrected. There's a difference. David stood, pacing. If you're worth billions, why live like this? Like someone who doesn't need to prove herself with things. But the apartment, the car, 5 blocks from my office. Cars. Reliable. I have what I need. Mom was crying now. What have we done? You assumed, I said quietly. You judged without asking. Dad closed the magazine. You run a foundation? Scholarships? The Foster Education Initiative. Full scholarships for 200 students so far, kids who want to pursue non-traditional paths, but lack support. The irony wasn't lost, Trevor cleared his throat. Madison, I owe you an apology. We all do. Do you? Or are you just sorry because I finally succeeded by your standards? He flinched. That's fair. I walked to the window beside David, looking out at the neighborhood where I always felt out of place. When I left Stanford, I tried to explain what I was building. Every talk ended with you telling me I was wrong. We were trying to protect you, Mom sobbed. From what? From following my passion? From success? Dad joined me. I don't know what to say. We've been awful. Not awful. Just blind. How can we make it right? I considered. Could years of disregard be fixed by one article? Start by realizing success isn't only one thing. Intelligence isn't about fitting a mold. Sometimes the failure is the biggest success. Jessica piped up. The article says you're working on quantum computing? For the first time, I smiled. Quantum data storage. If it works, today's cloud will seem ancient. You're doing this alone? David asked. With a team of dropouts, actually. The brightest people I know. Trevor laughed, but this time with admiration. Of course. There's something else, I said. MIT called. Honorary doctorate. Harvard too. Stanford wants me to give their commencement speech. Mom cried harder. We've been fools. Just protective, I told her. Dad picked up Forbes, studying my photo. You look happy. I am. I love my work. My team. The impact we're making. And we tried to stop you, he said softly. You did. But dreams like this. You don't quit just for approval. The silence was thoughtful, not awkward. Madison, David said, could you tell us about your company? For real. No more smirks, just curiosity, maybe respect. I began at the start, how most companies waste resources on bad data systems. For 2 hours, I explained everything. Technology, business, vision. They listened, asked real questions, slowly realizing what I'd done. The sun was setting when I finished. Dinner's ruined, Mom said, but she smiled. We could order pizza, I suggested. Pizza sounds perfect, Dad said. Though I bet you could buy the pizza place. I laughed. Maybe. But sometimes simple is best. As Mom called, Trevor pulled me aside. Last Christmas, when I told you to be realistic, I was jealous. I never had the guts to chase big dreams. It's not too late. Some of my best developers are in their 40s. He smiled. Maybe we could talk more about your field? I'd like that. Pizza arrived. We sat around the old table, where I'd endured years of lectures, but the mood was new. Tonight, I wasn't the family disappointment. I was Madison Foster, CEO of Nexus Dynamics, Forbes cover. More importantly, I was seen for who I was. There's one more thing, I said. I'm opening an East Coast legal division. Trevor. Would you consider running it? He coughed. Are you offering me a job? If you want it. It's a risk. But it's a chance to build something new. He looked at his plate, then at me. What would I do? Write legal frameworks. For tech that doesn't exist yet. Build contracts with governments. Build from scratch. That sounds terrifying. And incredible. The best things usually are. David was listening. Do billion-dollar companies need accountants? I smiled. They need CFOs. People who understand finance and tech. Are you offering me a job too? I'm offering you the chance to help build the future. If you can handle working for your little sister. He laughed, and this time, it was real. I think I can manage. As the evening ended, my family walked me to the door. Hours ago, I was the disappointment. Now, everything changed. Madison, Mom said, holding me tight, I'm so proud. Not for the money or fame, but for your courage. Even when we didn't believe, Dad added. I'm sorry. I hugged them, feeling old wounds start to heal. We're family. We'll figure it out. Driving home in my trusty Honda, I thought about the journey, late nights coding, investor rejections. Family dinners where I was invisible. But mostly, I thought about tomorrow. The quantum project, my team of brilliant underdogs, the future we were forging. My phone buzzed, a text from my publicist. Forbes articles trending. Interviews pouring in. Ready? I smiled, replying. Ready. By morning, 47 missed calls and 200 plus unread emails. 3 major news outlets wanted interviews, stock up 15%. But the message that made me grin was from David, reviewed Nexus Dynamics financials. Holy Madison, when can we talk CFO? Sometimes, the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's undeniable success, enough to change not just how others see you, but how they see themselves. My family would never again equate unconventional with failure. They'd learn to look deeper, to ask, to listen, and me? I was only getting started. The dropout who let everyone down was about to